When you're face to fangs with a vampire, the last thing you want is to be unprepared. So here's a quick guide on what each character brings to the table and how to build the perfect Slayer in Redfall. At launch, Redfall provides players with 4 Slayers to choose from, each with their own unique abilities and quirky personalities. But come to think of it, I'm not sure if quirky is quite the word for Jacob. However, our sinister sharpshooter does have a particular set of skills that make him the natural pick for players who want to focus on stealth and scouting. His cloak can make him briefly invisible to enemies, which is ideal for dashing past guards or, making a sneaky getaway. You can then nab the hidden strike upgrade, and you can even get a few shots off before it breaks if you don't mind being a bit unsporting.
Alright, sorry Sam, but this next one's for the birds. Raven lets Jacob send out his feathery psychic pal to scout out enemies, tagging them with a red outline that will help you keep track of them.
Sounds a lot like wall hacks to me.
Yeah, I guess so. But once you've thrown a few skill points the Raven's way, it can also damage enemies directly and decrease their defenses. Once you've got their locations down, you can take out a whole bunch of bad guys with Jacob's ultimate ability, Heartstopper, which conjures a psychic sniper rifle that locks onto multiple targets and delivers a rapid series of kill shots. Jacob really is the thinking player's Slayer. If you're patient enough to scope out your enemies and plan out each attack before moving in for the kill, you'll feel right at home with him. On the other hand, if, like me, you've always wanted to move stuff with your mind or you just really like the colour purple, Layla could be the way to go. Think of her as a bit more of a defensive, mage-like character.
You basically sold me as soon as you said that you could move stuff with your mind.
Not purple?
No, not my colour.
Well, with Lift, Layla can whip up a psychic elevator that will send her shooting into the air. This one is great for seeking out all sorts of rooftop pathways and hidden entrances. I mean, this is an arcane game after all, Sam, so there are tons of less obvious routes to discover. It can also be upgraded to provide Layla or her allies a variety of buffs while they're airborne, allowing you all to rain death from above.
Now, Henry, we should probably tell everybody about the other very cool ability that Layla has, which is Umbrella, and it's great for those who like to take a direct approach. This telekinetic brolly won't just soak up any projectile that heads your way, it can send them flying back in the opposite direction, while its upgrades allow it to channel any damage it absorbs into Layla's ammo supply. As a character who gets stronger the more enemies fire at her, Layla is the perfect pick for players who want to tank their way across Redfall.
Sounds a bit like an even more gothy Neo.
Well, let's get on to Layla's ultimate. That lets her summon a vampire ex-boyfriend that helps you out in combat and can even be upgraded to revive Layla if she goes down while he's around. Neo never had that, did he?
Alright, got me there.
It's always nice to see a couple remaining friends after they break up, even if they do spend most of their time slaughtering monsters together. Now, as a combat engineer, Remi brings a nice balance of support abilities and straight up firepower that mean you can really tailor her build to whatever playstyle you're shooting for. Firstly, her C4 charge does pretty much what it says on the label throughout all of gaming's history. It lobs a big chunk of plastic explosive that creates a nice big boom. It's ideal for taking out groups and clearing out rooms. Whereas you've got Siren, which is another ability, and that offers more of a sophisticated, strategic possibility, as it allows Remi to send her adorable robot helper, and forgive my French, but Ribbon, to cause distraction and draw enemies towards it.
I think it's Spanish, mate.
Is it Spanish?
It is.
All right, well, that's fairly embarrassing, isn't it? Anyway, if you're completely heartless, you can even combine those two abilities, the C4 and the Siren, by attaching explosives to Ribbon.
That's awful. But, I mean, for something a bit more my taste, her ultimate, Mobilize, establishes a control point that will heal or revive any allies within it. And when it comes to upgrading Remi's skills, there are quite a lot of options, Sam. If you want to use her to manage the flow of the battle, you can bolster Bribon.
Oh, you're just showing off now.
Oh, come on. To make him more durable and give him the ability to weaken enemies in various ways. Super useful. And if you also put some points into Mobilize as well, you can actually create a second rallying point around Bribon to provide additional support for your team. For a more direct approach though, just upgrade the C4 to make it even more powerful. We love big booms. Anyway, while she may seem like a healer at first glance, your options are wide open with Remi, with a skill set that's ideal for players who like to go gonzo and those who prefer a slightly more cerebral approach. Finally, Sam, we've got Redfall's very own Inspector gadget, Devinder. And while he might seem like a bit of a bookworm, our friendly neighbourhood cryptozoologist packs one heck of a punch. Arc lighting sees him tossing a javelin charged with lightning that will stick to whatever surface it hits and shock the ever-loving heck out of anyone nearby. while Devinder's ultimate, Blacklight, uses a UV emitter to petrify entire groups of enemies.
Can I shock you? I love the sound of that.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's an ideal way to set up your allies for the killer blow, or just to buy you some time while you all make a hasty retreat. Speaking of, there's also Translocate, which also allows players to chuck a device and then teleport instantaneously to its location. Don't ask me how it works. It opens up all sorts of possibilities for accessing those hard to get to parts of the map, or just straight up bamboozling bad guys. With the right skill tree tinkering, your teleporter will also grant Devinder and his allies health and damage boosts whenever they translocate.
And with his more technical fighting style, Devinder is best for players who don't always want to go charging headlong into battle. You can zap your enemies from afar, use the translocator to keep them at arm's length, and unleash the Blacklight when the time is right to make the most of his cryptid killing expertise. Now, Henry, I'm not sure if we've told everyone this enough, but it is totally possible to play through Redfall's entire campaign on your own. You're lonesome, on your Todd, alone in your room.
All right, I get it.
Yeah, okay, all
You
right.
don't need to play with me, it's fine.
Yeah, fine. But you'll probably still have a smashing, vamp-slapping time doing so, all right? Even if you are on your own, alone, as normal.
All right.
However, there's no denying that you can really take your Slayer game up a notch by working with a teammate or two, especially if you combine your abilities just right. For example, Remi's upgraded Siren ability lets you lay more damage on any enemy that has been distracted by your robot decoy, and it also creates a nice, tightly packaged gaggle of enemies for Devinder to turn to stone using his ultimate. So combine the two, and you'll be able to pulverize your petrified foes more efficiently than ever.
Yeah, that sounds good and all, but you could also add the Energize upgrade to Devinder's Arc Javelin, which will allow any party members in range of it to deal electrical damage with their attacks. If you're teaming up with players who favour a close combat approach, like Layla, this is a great way to support them. With Jacob, you'll probably need to be more proactive to play an effective supporting role, so find a good vantage point and mark as many enemies as you can. Ideally, with the Marked for Death upgrade in play, so that they now take more damage. You see where we're going with this?
Yeah,
More damage.
got
It's
it.
great. That way, Layla and Remi can charge in with their psychic powers and sticky bombs to really tear the bad guys apart. And if you're struggling to find a good sniping point, aren't we all?
Could never be me.
Well, you could always ask Layla to return the favour by tossing Jacob into the air. Her psychic sharpening upgrade will give him a bullet damage boost while he's airborne, and if you're able to unleash his Heartstopper while you're up there, don't expect there to be many enemies still standing once you touch the ground.
See, teamwork really does make the dream work, so make sure you guys try and combine as many of those abilities as possible, while also noting some of the great upgrades that we just went through. But of course, the only way you'll really figure out which playstyle works for you is, well, by playing. So you can grab Redfall on Xbox or PC Game Pass now. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, let us know. Let us know who your favourite Slayer is down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.